Hi, this is Paul on the plane, and welcome to episode 4 of Faking Space. This video will serve as part 1 in our next series analyzing the images we are told are provided to us by the Deep Space Climate Observatory, or DSCOVR for short. DSCOVR was launched by SpaceX on a Falcon 9 in February 2015, and we are told that approximately 100 days later, it arrived at its position in our solar system called the L1, Lagrange point, where there's a perfect balance between the Earth's gravity and the Sun's gravity that will keep the DSCOVR satellite in a perfect position to always view the sunlit side of the Earth at about 1 million miles from our world, and then allow it to capture complete images of the Earth. No more so-called composite images are required to piece together what the Earth looks like in its entirety. We finally got that one camera pointed at the Earth, sending us real images, right? Well, let's see if we start examining the pictures we are told are coming from DSCOVR and its Earth Polychromatic Imaging Camera, or EPIC for short. Do they appear to be real? Or will we find more evidence of NASA manipulating or editing the images? Just a quick note that the DSCOVR satellite is operated by the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA. It was handed over by NASA after its launch with the intention of the data that DSCOVR captures aiding NOAA's Space Weather Prediction Center forecasters and giving them more reliable measurements of solar wind conditions and improving their ability to monitor potentially harmful solar activity. Truly, a modern marvel this machine is. Okay, we will begin by going over to the Galleries page on the DSCOVR EPIC website on the NASA domain. The link will be in the description. We're going to focus on lunar transit from the lunar transit series from July 5th, 2016. You guys have seen this animation before. This is, I think, one of two that they did kind of in this format. So if you click on the View the Images link, as you can see here, you can see all 15 of the images that the DSCOVR satellite provided us. And I took the liberty of already downloading all of those here. And the point I wanted to make is just simply that I want to be dragging these photos in and go ahead and adjust the gamma brightness. And what I wanted you to see is that all of these images have a box around them, and it's also tilted. So you can drag any of these in, and you'll find that every single one of them has a box around it and is tilted. We'll try one more just to show that. And there you have it. Okay, now if we go back to the main page, really cool feature of this site is that you can go and pick the date that you want to see the images from. So I'm going to just scroll back here to July 5th in 2016, and you will see that there are 15 images. So we'll just click on one random one here. This is the 5th one in this series. Let's see, let's go ahead and just put number 5 in front of that, and then let's just pick another one out. How about number 13? Let's download that, and I'm not going to do all of these, but you can go ahead and do that yourself. Let's go ahead and just see if we pull these into Photoscape, if we have the same effect, and adjust gamma brightness, and as you can see, all right, so we've got some consistency there. They all have a box around them. They're all tilted. The other one that I downloaded was 13 here, and there you have it. Okay, so if we head back to the date gallery here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the day immediately before, which is July the 4th. Okay, so I'm then going to go to the very last image, and this says that there were 12 of them. Okay, so I'm going to go to the 12th image, which is right here. 12, showing 1 of 12, sorry. Where's the 12th one? Oh, I guess I can't go backwards. All right, there's the 12th one. So this is the last image that we received from the EPIC camera before that lunar transit day. Okay, so I'm going to call this day before and 12, and I'm going to pull this into Photoscape. There's the day before, and I'm going to adjust my gamma brightness, and nothing. No box. No ambient light, no noise, no nothing. Interesting. All right, let's try the day after. That would be the July the 6th. And I'll take the first image. There's 30 pictures the day after, so this is the first image. I'm going to download that and save it. We'll call this day after, and it was the first one. And let's go over to Photoscape, day after, pull it in, adjust the gamma brightness, no box, no tilt, no ambient light, and no noise, no nothing. So just like the LRO, when there's another object introduced into the image, there's a box around it. In the case of the LRO, when the Earth was introduced to the image, there was a box around it and it was tilted. In this case, we don't have any boxes, and you can go back and look at all the images on the day before and the day after, pull them into Photoscape here, and you won't find any box. But just that one day with the lunar transit, with the moon coming in front of the Earth, every image in both galleries have a box. So, curious. Okay, let's head back to the gallery page for just a minute to discuss the description here. July 5th, 2016, the moon again passed between Discover and the Earth. Epic snapped these images over a period of 4 hours, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what it does not mention here is any special processing or reprocessing that has been done. If you go down and look at some of these other galleries, you see, hey, reprocessed images, reprocessed version, things like that. And so let's touch on what that even means. Reprocessing, basically what it's saying is that these images were enhanced, that colors were enhanced. It does not mean it was a composite image. The Epic camera itself has 10 different channels that are all combined into one image. That doesn't mean it has 10 different cameras or 10 different shots that it's actually taking. It means that each of the channels are used to detect different things about the Earth, and they do it over 10 channels, from ultraviolet to infrared, we are told. So they combine these channels together to make a picture for us. A composite would be capturing an image over here and then capturing an image over there, different pictures, and combining those into one image. My Nikon Coolpix P900 shoots in 3 different channels, RGB, red, green, blue. When I snap a picture, it captures my image on those 3 channels and makes one image. It doesn't take 3 different pictures and combine them into a composite image. And either way, whether it's one image or 10 different images, it won't result in boxes. We are told the Epic's radiospectroradiometer camera is taking one image using 10 different channels, so that in no way would explain why there's a box around an image that includes the moon, and then another image the day before or after with no box. Okay, we are going to head back to the images from the gallery, and we're going to use Forensically, and we're going to do a noise analysis. And this is going to be really interesting. So we'll take one of the images, hit noise analysis, and what you're going to see is you're going to see that there is noise, which is interesting because of the fact that it's just in this box. So what is going on here is this has been added because of the fact, look at the area around the box. It's completely black. You know, that's the black background. So if anything, we've got a copy and paste confirmed here that the images are being pasted onto a black background. Let's just open up another one quickly and take a look and see if we get the same thing. Do a noise analysis. And again, different noise this time. Now we've got some different colors, which is very interesting. You see some weird edges around the box there. So clearly this is a copy and paste job onto a black background. And the noise looks like it may have been added, and here's why. If we go back to the one of the images that was not during the moon lunar transit, and we do our noise analysis, this was the I think the day before, there's no noise around the image of the Earth. So conclusion, there's only one conclusion here. They are pasting the Earth on a black box, which we kind of thought that anyway, but this really confirms it, because now we're only seeing noise when there's a image of the moon, and it's only on this day. We'll do it again. Here's the day after. Again, look, no noise around the Earth. So there's only noise when the moon is present around the Earth, but no noise when it's not. Very, very strange, very inconsistent, totally an anomaly. And we'll just pull up another random image just to be sure. Let's see here. Let's go back, I don't know, to December 6th. That sounds good. Let's just save this image. We'll pick a random one here. Looks like image 6 of 12. We'll save it to the computer. Let's see, I'm going to call it December 6, 2016. We'll save that. Go back to forensically, and let's open it up and see if there's any noise in space. And again, nothing. So you can go through and look at all these images and see that there's no noise except for when the moon appears. And it's in a box. Okay, that completes our initial analysis of a set of images from the Discover satellite and its 4-megapixel EPIC camera. It's a little disappointing, to be frank, that my iPhone 6 has an 8-megapixel camera, so that's what, twice as good as the EPIC camera, considering what we are told the satellite costs the good taxpayers of our country. But that's a topic for another time. We hope you have enjoyed episode 4. In episode 5 of Faking Space, we will dive into another set of lunar transit images that are a little bit more recent, and without spoiling it too much, you'll definitely want to tune in because we found a third object in these alleged images from space, about 1 million miles away. Gosh, a 4-megapixel camera with a 40 millisecond exposure getting these beautiful shots from 1 million miles away. Just amazing. Until next time, on behalf of Archer Sage, this has been Paul on the Plane. Thanks for watching. Hi, this is Paul on the Plane, and welcome to episode 5 of our video series, Faking Space. This is part 2 of our image analysis on pictures we are told are coming from the Deep Space Climate Observatory, or DSCOVR, and its EPIC camera, a mere 1 million miles away. In part 1, we observed how the Lunar Transit series from DSCOVR provided images of the Earth and Moon in a single picture with a tilted box around it, and the box had noise that appeared to be added in, while all of the other pictures the EPIC sent us from the days before and after the lunar transit in 2016 had no box, no noise, no nothing, just black paint all the way around it, proving without a shadow of a doubt that the images were simply pasted onto a black background. If you believe the tilted box with noise added later was actually a real picture, even though none of the other EPIC images contained boxes or noise, why do you think NASA or the NOAA, who is managing the DSCOVR satellite, would take the time to cut out the picture of the Earth and paste it onto a black background? We are told the EPIC camera shoots a square image, 2048 by 2048 pixels, so the image we receive should be a square, not circular, or you wouldn't see the moon approaching the Earth and leaving the frame unless it was right in front of the Earth. So there's no other logical explanation other than the images of the Earth are all pasted onto a black background. Okay, let's get into DSCOVR Part 2 here with the other gallery of images for a different lunar transit series, this one from July 16, 2015. Part 1 was the lunar transit images from July 5, 2016, so it's easy to get the dates confused. The first thing you will notice here is that it says the images from this gallery are reprocessed, which, as we discussed in Part 1, just means the colors have been enhanced. So I've taken the liberty to download the first seven images from the gallery because that is where we immediately found something rather strange about these images. Before we get into those, on a side note, when you go into the page where you can pick the date you want to see the images from, and you go back to July 16, 2015, it looks like we didn't receive any images from DSCOVR that day. Very strange. Okay, time for the big reveal. As I mentioned, the first 7 images are what I downloaded from the gallery, and here's why. Not going to use the first one because I don't think the object shows up there. I'm going to start with the second one, and very simply going to do what we always do. Going to go to the gamma brightness, and we're going to pop this thing way up. 1, 2. So we've got 2 moons. Weird, huh? All right, let's go to the third one. Here's the third image. Fourth one. Different color, but the same shape. I think if you measured the curve here and here, you'd find that. But we're seeing that there's an edge here where the moon is coming into the frame, and we've got an edge here where it looks like another moon is leaving the frame. Very odd. Here's the fifth one. Same curve, different color. There's an edge here and an edge here. So there's maybe 2 boxes now. Let's go to the sixth one. And now this second moon is leaving the frame. And the moon that we're supposed to see is fully in the frame now. And then the seventh one. There you go. The second moon is totally left. Okay, as we wrap up part 2 of our analysis on the Discover satellite lunar transit from 2015, we're going to be pulling our photos that we've been analyzing today into forensically, looking for noise and ambient light. So just a quick reminder, if we would expect these images to be real, we should see, as you can see, this is a picture I took of the moon, which we've analyzed before. But if we go to the noise analysis tool, first of all, I wanted to do just a quick reminder of what we should see if a real picture is taken and you do this analysis. You come up and slide the opacity slider up and you see noise. This is a classic example of noise. Here is the object, and the dark areas or space around it should all have noise. And then for the ambient light, we want to slide the opacity slider up. Oops, that was too far. And then start increasing the width. And we can see this ambient light showing up around the object. You see how it gets it's light as it's real close to the object, and then gets darker and darker as you go away from it. And you can adjust that and really make that ambient light show up. And that's what we would expect to see if an object is throwing light at us, or that's the source of the light. Whether you believe, again, the moon is producing its own light, or whether you think it's reflecting, either way, we should be seeing, if light is coming from the object, we should be seeing ambient light. So, very simply, let's go back to our images from the lunar transit. We'll pull in number 3 to start. Start with the noise analysis. And as you can see, noise over the objects, in this case, 3 objects, 2 moons, 1 Earth, but no noise in any of the dark areas of space. Okay? Very, very odd. Go to level sweep, looking for ambient light. Again, if we crank this up, we should start seeing evidence of the ambient light appearing around really all of the objects, and we see none. Same conclusion, same results, same conclusion. Ambient light is not present. These objects are pasted onto a black background. We don't see noise. We don't see any ambient light. All right, another image analysis of photos we are told are coming to us from a 4 megapixel camera from 1 million miles away, showing both the Earth and the moon, moons. So we'll wrap up part 2 of our Discover image analysis with a quick recap so far. In part 1, we covered the lunar transit images from July 2016 that all had a tilted box pasted onto a black background, but the images from the days before and after had no box. The images with the moon contain noise added after the fact, and the images on the days before and after have no noise or ambient light. A year earlier, NASA only provided us reprocessed images of their 2015 lunar transit series, but these had no boxes, no noise, and no ambient light, and every single image should. But they do have something special, a second moon. Very, very strange. Okay, in part 3 of our Discover series, we'll analyze images from the Epic camera from a solar eclipse on March 9, 2016, and we'll have some interesting findings to present as well. We hope you have enjoyed episode 5 of our series, Faking Space. On behalf of Archer Sage, this has been Paul on the Plane. Thanks for watching. Hi, this is Paul on the Plane, and welcome to episode 6 of Faking Space. We continue our series on the Deep Space Climate Observatory, or DSCOVR, and its Earth Polychromatic Imaging Camera, or EPIC, here in part 3. In parts 1 and 2, we analyzed images from a pair of lunar transits in 2016 and then in 2015, and found significant inconsistencies as some of the images contained boxes and noise, but others had no boxes and no noise, and a handful even had 2 moons. Strange indeed. Part 3 here will focus on another set of images in the EPIC gallery from March 9th, 2016 of a solar eclipse. The link to the download to all these images we are examining in this video are in the description, so you can do your own analysis if you'd like. Before we present our findings from this series of images, I wanted to point out that the images from the date section of the EPIC website are supposed to be raw or unedited. And as we've pointed out, we sometimes see NASA states that the images over in the gallery are reprocessed, quote-unquote reprocessed, which means essentially that they've been enhanced color-wise. The images from the date section are supposedly not reprocessed. Some people may argue that NASA doctors up the photos before they release them, but that they do retain the originals. However, we've started asking for the originals directly from NASA, and they do send us the images we've requested. But the problem is that they send us the same thing as what they released online. Sometimes it's a larger file, but it's the same image and has the same problems that we've been pointing out. Okay, so I've downloaded the first handful of images from the gallery section of the solar eclipse on March 9, 2016, and I'm going to pull them into Photoscape and adjust the gamma slider here, and lo and behold, as expected, we have a tilted box that has been pasted onto a black background. Nothing new here. It is a prettier shade of lavender, though. It looks better than the dull gray color on the lunar transit images. It's interesting that the color of the box is different than what we've reviewed previously. Now, if we go over to Forensically here and pull the same image in and then apply the noise analysis, we see just the box and the Earth that have noise, but the rest of quote-unquote space is noise-free. This is consistent with one of the lunar transit series, but not the other. Okay, now we're going to go back to the EPIC website and go to the date section, and let's put in March 9th, 2016, and as you can see, the images are here as well. Strange that one of the lunar transit series had the same images in the date portion of the site, but the other lunar transit series did not. So we're just going to download one and then pull it into Photoscape and adjust the gamma, and as you can see, no box. It apparently has been removed, or as we discussed previously, they take the time to cut out the image of the Earth and paste it onto an image of black paint. Some of the LRO images show they attempted to even remove the box, but it looks like that maybe now they're just cutting and pasting. You can check the rest of the images on this date, and you will see that they are all consistent with this one. So, the so-called pre-processed images have no box, but the images on the gallery page all have a box, even though they do not say they were reprocessed. There's also no noise around the Earth in the date section, but in the gallery, there is noise around the Earth. So, which are edited and which ones aren't? One set has to be, since they're different. Maybe they all are. If that's the case, my question remains, what's the scientific value of anything that has been changed or manipulated? Okay, before we wrap up part 3 of our Discover series here, I want to talk about the noise that appears to have been added to the images in the gallery section of the EPIC website. The reason I say that appears to have been added is because when I use the noise analysis tool on an image I've personally taken, it looks like this, or like this. Noise over the entire image, and it's consistent in its color and its pattern. But when we do the same noise analysis on one of the images from NASA that has a box and the appearance of noise around the Earth, we get this. The colors are different, and the pattern is different. This is strong evidence that noise has been added, and would seem to align to the same images in the date section of the Epic website that have no box and no noise around it. Now, some may argue that NASA claims to use noise reduction technology on their images, but let's be fair, if that were true, then we should see noise reduced over the image of the Earth too, not just the space around it. Also, noise reduction technology wouldn't remove the noise completely from the dark areas of the photo. It would perhaps reduce it some, but not eliminate it completely. Okay, that will do it for part 3 of our image analysis series on the Discover images given to us by NASA from March 9, 2016. We hope you've enjoyed episode 6 of Faking Space. In part 4, we will have another big reveal as we wrap up our analysis of the Discover satellite and its breathtaking images it provides us from an astonishing 1,000,000 miles away. You won't want to miss it. On behalf of Archer Sage, this has been Paul on the Plane. Thanks for watching. Hi, this is Paul on the Plane, and this is part 4 of our image analysis series of the Deep Space Climate Observatory, or DSCOVR, and its Earth Polychromatic Imaging Camera, or EPIC. This episode, number 7 in our Faking Space series, will serve as our mid-season finale. Yes, hard to believe, but we're already halfway through Season 1. We've been building up to this reveal with our examination of the Earthrise and Moon images from the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, or LRO, in episodes 1 through 3, and then our analysis of the DSCOVR Earth and Moon images in episodes 4 through 6. Episode 7 here will bring the first 6 episodes together and tie them up neatly with a bow. If you may recall, when we were examining the LRO images, any picture that contained the Earth had a neat little box around it, and we mentioned that would come into play later in the series, right? So, here we go. If you watched episodes 1 through 3, you will remember this NASA website called Earthrise Reimagined. The link is in the video description again. What I want to point your attention to is the date the Earthrise image was captured by the LRO, which, just as a reminder, is a satellite we are told has been orbiting the Moon for the last 8 years, and although the LRO experiences 12 Earth rises daily, this is only one of a handful of images it has ever captured of the Earth. Okay, as you can see, the date was October 12th, 2015. Now, let's head over to the DSCOVR website where the EPIC images are published for the general public, and we're going to navigate to that same date, October 12th, 2015. We are shown 20 images from the EPIC camera that day, and if we scroll through to the 11th image, it may start to look very familiar. Just as a reminder, we are told the DSCOVR satellite that captured these images is approximately 1,000,000 miles away and is locked into a perfect location in space where the Sun's and Earth's gravity keep it positioned perfectly to always capture sun-lit images of the Earth. So, we take these two images, the LRO shot on the left and the EPIC shot on the right, and lay them side by side, and what? They are identical. At first thought, maybe not a big deal, right? But to achieve this, the two satellites would have to capture these shots at exactly the same time. Notice the clouds are the same, and from the same line of sight in space, and do it all from different orbits and different focal lengths, like 760,000 miles apart. If we take the EPIC image and tilt it like they did for the LRO image, and lay them side by side on the LRO image, you will notice both images have the same distances from the continents to the edges of the Earth, and the distance from the Earth to the edge of the frame on the left and the right are the same too. These shots being the same are impossible. And what are the odds that out of the few images the LRO captured of the full Earth over the last 8 years, that one of them was taken at the exact moment in time as the Epic shot. Furthermore, think about this. The LRO image was captured from allegedly 239,000 miles away, and it is showing the Earth as being completely lit by the sun, right? That means the sun, and the Discover satellite being locked into its position directly between the sun and the Earth, was capturing images that day from 1,000,000 miles away. Both were directly behind the moon and the LRO at this point in time. Directly behind. If that were the case, why doesn't the moon appear in any images from Discover that day, October 12th, 2015? We should have another set of lunar transit images like the ones we analyzed in episodes 4 and 5. I think you guys are getting the picture now. There's only one logical conclusion if you compare both stories NASA is telling us here. The Earthrise image from the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter was taken from the Discover series of images from that day, and a fake surface of the moon was added. We proved that in episode 3. Colors slightly changed and published as if it were real. Same box size, same Earth size, 2 satellites supposedly floating out in space, and at the same exact moment in time capture the same exact image, one from 239,000 miles away and the other from 1,000,000 miles away. And the moon is nowhere to be found? Check out the image here again, with the moon having circled its way around to be between the sun and the Earth. Where's the moon? To illustrate this point further, here are images from timeanddate.com showing the position of the sun and moon during the lunar transit series from July 5th, 2016, and then compare that to what the Epic image showed. And then here's the lunar transit series from July 16, 2015, and then what the Epic image showed. Both of those do make some sense based on the images that we were given and what timeanddate.com gives us. Now, if we punch in the date of October 12, 2015 into timeanddate.com and time it so that the sun is directly over Western Africa, like the LRO and the Epic images appear to have been taken from, you can see the moon should be right there in the Epic line of sight. If you think that the LRO was too low and was looking up at the Earth to get its shot, then the images would not have the same angle. Because the images from the 2 satellites are identical, both cameras would have to be around the equatorial plane, which means that the moon would have to be in the field of view of Discover. The Epic camera field of view is also quite a bit larger than the Earth's diameter, a few thousand miles on all sides. But hey, since NASA is removing all backgrounds, maybe they've been removing the moon from their pictures too. We are told that this is how the moon's orbit works, and you can see how small an inclination its orbit is around the Earth. Compare that to this NASA diagram showing the Epic camera field of view. We should have received a lunar transit series every month from Discover, and we should see the moon passing behind the Earth, approaching from one side and then appearing on the other side as it leaves the frame when it passes through the Epic field of view. Shoot, NASA even admits to calibrating the Epic camera by facing the moon, but we never see it except for a few days in Epic's history. And it's allegedly sending us images every, 30 to 60 minutes from 1,000,000 miles away. Here's a picture from what we are told is a geostationary satellite operated by the Japanese meteorological agency called the Himawari. It captured the moon as it passed behind the Earth. How come Epic never captures the moon appearing from behind the Earth? Sorry, NASA. Your stories don't add up. We hope you have enjoyed the first half of Season 1 of Faking Space. We have a ton more in store for the second half of this season, which will resume in a few weeks. And yeah, that's right. I said Season 1. Meaning there will be a Season 2. On behalf of Archer Sage, this has been Paul on the Plane. Thanks for watching. Hi, this is Paul on the Plane. Welcome to Episode 8 of Faking Space. This video marks the beginning of the second half of Season 1. We hope you've been enjoying our forensic image analysis series so far. In this video, we're going to expand on the question why we rarely are given images from the Epic camera on the Discover satellite from 1,000,000 miles away, rarely get images that contain our moon. To date, we've been given 2 lunar transit series, July 16, 2015 and July 5, 2016. The image gallery on the Epic website does contain a short 11-second video showing the moon pass behind the Earth, which is strange in of itself because it appears the Discover satellite changed its orbital path to lock onto the moon for a time being, when we are told it's supposed to be positioned consistently between the Sun and the sunlit Earth at all times. You do realize the Discover satellite would have to drastically speed up or slow down in order to get this series of images, right? Now, NASA didn't provide us a date of this video, other than to say it was captured in 2015. And they also don't provide the original images as of the production of this video. We've asked them to provide the dates of this lunar occultation, and so far they have not responded. But the overarching question remains, how come we don't see the moon every 14 days in the images that we are presented with from Discover? I mean, here's a diagram made for kids, in fact, on the NASA website, showing the moon's orbit. If this is truly how it works, and we understand the Epic camera may not capture it most days as it orbits the Earth, but we should see the moon at least every 13 to 15 days as it either passes in front or behind the Earth. But we've only been shown it twice in, 2.5 years? It would undoubtedly have to be in Discover's field of view every 14 days or so. Well, as we've thoroughly shown so far in the Faking Space series, the backgrounds are fake. So maybe NASA is removing the moon twice a month from the images that we are shown. Extremely, extremely odd. It will be very interesting to see what NASA releases with the August 21st solar eclipse. What do you think? Will we see the moon, or won't we? Will it be removed from the images by NASA, or will it fail to be in the frame altogether, even though we should see it every 14 days or so anyways? It's worthy of note that the last time NASA highlighted or played up a solar eclipse on the Epic website galleries, it was the March 9, 2016 solar eclipse, which we saw a shadow but no moon. So what do you think is going to happen on August 21st, even though we should have seen the moon on March 9th? You know, Archer Sage contacted NASA, asking them for all the raw and unedited images from the Epic camera. On the earthdata.nasa.gov website, you must create an account, go through an approval process, in order to even make a request to receive these raw or unedited images. And Archer went through the process, was approved, and was given links to FTP sites to download the images from. But guess what? They were no different than what was presented online. The images from the July 5, 2016 Lunar Transit series with its tilted box pasted onto a black background are claimed to be raw and unedited images by NASA. The July 16, 2015 Lunar Transit series with its images that don't even exist on the timeline according to NASA, they have no box, no noise, no ambient light, and, a bonus, they have 2 moons. Those are all the same ones that Archer was sent from his request to receive the raw and unedited images. So for those of you who claim the images that you download or can download off of the NASA website, and you claim that they aren't the raw or unedited versions, but that NASA keeps all of those for themselves and just presents the processed or reprocessed images to the general public, then why, when we request the raw and unedited files, does NASA send us links to images on FTP sites that are no different and have all the same anomalies and inconsistencies? Yeah, we smell a rat too. Thanks for joining us for Episode 8 of Faking Space. We're back for the second half of Season 1, and from here it's going to get a little weird, for lack of a better term. Next, in Episode 9, we'll dive into a familiar image from earlier in the series from the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, or LRO, and examine the supposedly raw images they claim they used. We can't wait to show you what these quote-unquote raw images actually look like. Until then, on behalf of Archer Sage, this has been Paul on the Plane. Thanks for watching.